Nairobi, place of cool waters, the city that never wants to sleep. Modern, fast, innovative, noisy. This is the capital of Kenya, and like any major city, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Sprouting up in the late 1890s as a colonial railway settlement, Nairobi became the capital of the British East African Protectorate in 1905, a title that was previously transferred from the neighboring county of Machakos. Over the next century, Nairobi has grown from a small trading hub to a rather large one. This is where culture and modernity collide, a place of constant change and creativity, a true melting pot. And this is where we start our journey. Hi, my name's Adele Onyango, and welcome to the Legally Clueless Tour, where I'll be traveling across Kenya and maybe beyond, collecting powerful African stories. And I thought, what better place to start than right here in my hometown, Nairobi, a place that is fast-paced, but definitely not one for the faint-hearted. It's right there. Wow. Okay, there's a lion. Today we're here at Baraza Media Lab in the heart of Nairobi to listen to some of the stories from Kenyans living in the capital.
I am Abel Kipto from Kenya, Nairobi, born in Nairobi, lived in Nairobi for most part of my life.
So my name is Neema Toya.
My name is Malika Doris.
My name is Julia Kinyi.
My name is Wayne Wallace Mecha.
So my name is Julia Awor. I'm a digital marketer by profession and a podcaster. My podcast goes by the name Just Being Real, Good Vibes Only Podcast, and I'm from Kenya, Nairobi. Basically, I was in campus, trying to juggle through campus, learning, and you meet the person you think is the love of your life. So that was my major relationship, like longest relationship that I've ever been. And he's the father to my baby, because I'm a single parent, let me call it that. We dated for almost 4 years. He was like 2 years ahead of me in campus. So of course he finished campus earlier. And he'd gotten lucky because he got a job before he finished campus. So by the time he got out, he was so established and now money was coming in. He decided, let me do my master's. Again, money was, doubled, plus he got promoted. And now, I don't know, let's call it pride came in. And it was crazy. It started with a lot of cheating. We couldn't communicate at all. So it was a roller coaster. It was that relationship where you're just in a roller coaster, but you're like, you know what? I've realized women, we try to fix things. Like, we try. Like, he'll change. Maybe I should try talking to him, or let me give him time, or whatever. So of course you're waiting for this person to change, but it's not happening. It's one woman to another. Every other time you're getting a text, it's a call. And then the one thing, the red flag that was there was he would really go through my phone and he would try to ask like every detail of every guy's number I had on my phone. So who is this? If a guy calls me, even if it's a classmate, I have to explain who they are. And with time, I realized he was doing this because he knew what he was doing behind the scenes. So he thought I was doing the same thing, which wasn't the case. And the funny thing, sometimes I would even go visit him at his place and he would disappear. He'd be like, he'd call me and say, I'm coming, I've just left work. But it gets to 11, he's not there. You call, he's not picking up. He'll come back the following day at around 6 p.m. When you try a question, he walks off. So he walks off, he'll go. So you wait for him there and you're feeling guilty. You're like, oh, I shouldn't have asked. Maybe it's my fault. And then when he comes back, you don't want to question because, again, you don't want him to walk off. So you end up piling every single issue. And I guess it got to a point and it just blew off. And now here I got to a point I was pregnant. And I found out he was cheating with a close friend who we were with in campus. And they were even planning to get married. Okay. So when I found out he was cheating, I hadn't known I was pregnant. And I was living with my sister. So I had gotten a small assignment in Mombasa. So I'd gone there. And then he told me he'll come for me there, which he did. And then when we came back, we flew back from Mombasa. I remember we went, of course, straight to his house. And when I got there, I found a bag with clothes. And I asked him, this seems like ladies' clothes. What are they doing here? And who do they belong to? Who do they belong to? And he's like, it's, now I know her name. Let me say Grace. It's Grace. She did have somewhere to put her clothes because she had gotten done with her master's. So she brought them here. That doesn't make sense, but all right. So of course that made me curious. And on finding out, by that time, something I haven't said, he had a baby mama. Before, they got a baby earlier on. So he had a child, and the child would come through sometimes and stay over. And so when the child comes through, there was a nanny. So the nanny was there because the child was around. So when I tried to ask, the nanny said, yeah, the lady was here. She stayed for a couple of days, actually. I'm like, okay. So that's when I decided, okay. I didn't even tell him. I think because I knew, because every other time he cheated, we would talk about it. He would apologize or get mad and storm off. So there was nothing sorted out. So this time I was done. I was like, no, I can't do this. I just went back to my sister, decided enough is enough.
Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, has grown to a full-size township in the course of its 50 years of existence. And it was a great day when by royal charter it achieved the status of a city.
Over the past 100 years, Nairobi has exploded from a one-horse town to a bona fide city, attracting millions of people from all walks of life to the high towers and bright lights with the promise of prosperity and a better life. In order to succeed, however, you have to keep up with a fast pace. That's why I'm here today, to see if I can cut the mustard. So if you want to keep up with Nairobi's fast pace, you need the right training ground, and I think I found just the place. Okay, I know I was talking a lot about speed and I didn't bring any speed to the track, but I was just warming up. I think now I'm ready to go and face more of Nairobi.
So my name is Melanie Hapisu. I am from Nairobi, Kenya. Born, raised, lived here all my life. So 2020 was wonderful. January, February, then March, knock, knock, COVID hit. And of course, me and those people who thought COVID would be here for like 2 minutes and go away. Shock. So I remember as soon as COVID hit, by then Cortex was doing campaigns in unis. So we were physically going to different universities. So of course, physical contact, X. So the client was like, let's pause on the project. And of course, for me, thinking that COVID is here for 2 minutes, I was like, yeah, like next month, we'll be back. So honestly, I sat comfortably waiting to see where COVID will go. So just like that, I remember I had about 4 very small businesses I was serving then, and then now Cortex, all of them just went like that. So I remember when April began and I realized, okay, people are at home, what next? What exactly can I do around this space? So I thought, okay, one of the dreams I had when I was quitting my job was to train people when it comes to digital marketing. Because then, like I told you, I wanted to serve small businesses. Some could not afford to pay me on a monthly basis, but could afford to pay for training and then learn how to do it on their own. So I started training. So I remember my first class, I advertised for about a month. You know, week 1, week 2, no sign-ups, and you're like, whoa. Here I was thinking I'm a trainer. Week 3, week 4, finally people said signing up. So I remember the first few students I had, one was my mom. That was my first sign-up, my mom. And then I had a few people who discovered me from Twitter. Then, towards the end of 2020, more like October, then I started to get serious. I was like, now people are making money out there. Me, I'm not making money. So I went back to the drawing board, started looking for clients. And I remember, you know, those people who told you, we'll get back to you. Their companies I had written to, their proposals I had shared. So I followed up with one company. And they were like, oh, it's even good you reached out. We've been looking for you. We just couldn't remember your second name. So I was like, oh, wow, this is good. So they gave me another proposal to do. I did it. And after like 2 weeks, they're like, you have the job. Wow. So started working on the campaign for the client. It was a new company just coming into the market. They wanted to create awareness through social media and digital ads. So went in, did the campaign about 2 weeks. They were so happy, referred another client. Honestly, I know there are many people who have experienced probably a low, especially when the pandemic came. And in case you're listening to this, honestly, it gets better. If you have to move back to your parents' house, go. There's no embarrassment at all. Personally, I was still in my parents' house, so at least I had, something to fall back on. If you have to move in with a friend, if you have to cut your costs, do it. But always try and think, what else can you do? For me previously, I didn't see any other way to do digital marketing other than implementing campaigns for clients. So training had never come to mind. Creating content for clients and letting them execute on their own had never come to mind. So try and adjust according to the environment, because right now the world is changing really fast. It's not just the pandemic that has made things change. For me right now, I know very soon, probably DigiPath won't exist forever, simply because there'll be lots of softwares to probably post content, create the content. In fact, the other day I bumped into a tool that creates content for you, and I was just like, wow, I'm about to lose clients on that side. So always adjust accordingly, depending on what's going on. Don't give up. It's okay to be down. Get down. Pick up yourself after some time and try your best to create magic out of the little you have. That's all that matters. Yeah.
Starting out as a railway supply depot in the middle of some swampy pastoral land, Nairobi's history is forever tied to the story of the railway in East Africa. So we're at the Nairobi Railway Museum, which is a very important part of Nairobi because when you come here, you'll get to know more about the beginning of this city. It is the only railway museum in Eastern Central Africa that documents the railway that was built from Uganda to Nairobi. Started off in the 1890s, got to Nairobi, which back then was spelled with a Y, in 1899, and kept growing to what we know it to be today. So at the museum, you'll get to see photographs, floor plans, artifacts, china, so much more that really documents the history of this wonderful city. And really, when you come here, you'll get to understand where Nairobi began.
My name is Jackie Collins. I live in Nairobi, Kenya, but from Nakuru. I moved to Nairobi immediately after high school. There was like a gap here. So initially, I was supposed to, there was my auntie who was living abroad. So the idea was to come study here, let me perfect my German, and then now when we go back, then I go study now in Germany. That was the plan. And then this is through that I came to learn about, from Goethe Institute is when I learned about like orchestras and music. I had never knew they existed in Kenya up until I was at Goethe. And the music thing at this time was a very personal thing. Like it was a story within me that I thought like I had never experienced. It's like makes me happy, like joyfully happy. At this time, we are clashing a lot with my uncle, and I'm working at the conservatoire. I'm getting a little bit of money, so I'm doing a few gigs. So I was just like, you know what? One day, I walk from Riverside. I use Chiromo. I just walk. I'm crying mostly because I was crying because at the time, I think I had just like not eaten for 2 or 3 days, and I didn't know what to do. And I also did not know what to tell my uncle because he wasn't around at the time. I think he had traveled. I walk, and I find these street kids eating. They were being served food. So, what is life? I decided I'm gonna join them. I look as though I don't need the food though, but they just welcome me and tell me, just come. I sit there and they're like, any food, nazapata food. Then, so they give me. I spend the night there with them. Then in the morning at like around 5, some cops or some guys come and chase us away. So I take a few laps in Tao, then go to conservatoire and go practice. I still go back a few days later and I see these guys, and this time I run away, but they catch me. So they go ahead, like they hold my mouth like really, really, really tightly. They hold my hands and then they immediately say, tutaonyesha huyu mtu tunaonyesha huyu mtu hapa si kwao. So this time I'm trying to scream. I have a bass, so I can't scream. I'm trying to move. I'm like the skinniest person I know. I'm like the least, like I'm literally helpless. I close my eyes and I just say like, I guess God is not with me today. So they finish their stuff, and then they leave, and they say, "You fucking hoe, get the fuck out of here." Literally in those words. When akizungu yako mingi, utatuacha. I can't tell mom and dad because I think at this time I was thinking like, oh, it's really, really, really bad if they know, because I think a man should be strong, So I'm doing this, the man way. So I just try and be. My journey as a classical musician, I can say yes, it wasn't really, I still had music within me, but my circumstances and my experiences is what made me stay and just make me do music. Of course, now it has changed in the sense that my vision for music is different, but what made me really do music was my experiences. They were bad. They were not the most beautiful, most memorable things to want to remember, but how I see life, how I view things, how I view friends, how I view experiences and interactions, how I view social capital, how I view financial capital. Those things are all an influence of my experiences. I have my ups, I have my downs, but music saved. Music basically, in my own words, in how I see it, music saved me from a life that I think I couldn't have bared living. Music kind of just like just smoothened it, like it had many curves, but it just, music kind of made it really, really flow.
After a full day of weaving through Nairobi's wild, vibrant, colorful, creative culture, it only makes sense to end things here at the artisanal gallery that houses creatives from the fashion, jewelry, visual arts world, and more. This mix really captures what Nairobi's about, a melting pot of creativity, and you've got to check it out. In fact, you can check out all the places that we've been to today. Just check the description for links to all of them. Thank you so much for watching this first episode of our tour. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you find out where we're going to next. I have an ending. Sawa. A place that is fast-paced and definitely not one for the faint-hearted. Cool pose. Oh my goodness. Oh my toes. Okay, I don't know what my toes are doing. Oh, it is. It's looking. I feel like it's looking right at us. Yeah, it's a huge lion, guys. Are those zebras aware that their breakfast? Now it is. Oh, okay, I was doing so well.